Hi and welcome to At Home with Sky F1. We'll be looking back at 4 of our favourite features filmed from the past. The ones that I've got lined up for you are the interview that I did with Lewis Hamilton in Borneo from 2 years ago. I've got the Daniel Ricciardo and Max Verstappen interview at the SkyPad from Singapore last year, and 2 more from last year as well. That's the circuit guide from Monaco and the simulator feature that was filmed in Brackley at Mercedes. So moving to the first one, it's a bit of a strange location to go to, you have to say, but we were there because of Petronas. They gave us the invite to go and film Lewis one-to-one in the rainforest in Borneo, and we grabbed that opportunity. It's rare that you get access to a driver away from the track and in a much more relaxed environment. So we took that opportunity, and I think his frame of mind, having come straight from the victory in Singapore, the great race and qualifying that he had there, meant that he was in a nice relaxed mood, and I think the interview that followed was definitely a result of that. So yeah, let's go back and take a look at that one.
Okay, let's try.
Fresh off the back of his exceptional victory in Singapore, we've been given a great opportunity to catch up with Lewis Hamilton here in Borneo, where he's on work commitments with Petronas. Places we have to come to find you.
How you doing, man?
Yeah, really good.
I didn't bring trousers, I got shorts, but I'm nervous of getting bitten by bugs.
Oh yeah, that's what happens when you're in the forest.
Yeah, I've got a lot of bug spray on.
Fresh from the victory in Singapore?
Yep.
Let's go and have a chat about it.
Let's do it.
Tell us what's been going on and why you're here.
I've been to Borneo before, but it was not for work and it wasn't with Petronas. But this time I've come around to understand, to learn about the environmental conservation and sustainability project that they're working on. Really to understand what they're studying, how they're preserving it, how they are contributing to the future, really, the future generations. Because preserving and also improving nature is something we need to do, particularly in the crazy time in the world where everything's being damaged today.
Lots of people were saying, "Oh, how can he possibly do so much? He's here, there, and everywhere.
Yeah.
This must be kind of fogging the mind." But it doesn't. It seems to get more out of you somehow.
What's interesting is the way you say that. Oh, it must be this, must be doing that. But people always have doubt in their minds. Always quick to jump to negativity, and instead of focusing actually on themselves, I like the idea that I can change people's opinions. So arriving and delivering a solid performance on the weekend just shuts anyone up that has any questions.
And you really did. And we can't move on away from Singapore onto the next Grand Prix in Russia before we revisit that lap.
Hamilton crosses the line of 1:36.0. Wow, was that fast?
I want to know what's going through your mind when you drive a lap like that.
For some reason, I don't know, I went out and it just all came together, that all the bits that I've managed to pick up. But it's like you're juggling balls when you're driving that track. It's such a long track. There's bumps everywhere. There's different brake balance you need for each corner. There's and you can't obviously do it every single corner. You've got to just kind of minimize the amount of changes you're doing.
And trying to stay out of the walls as well at the same time.
Exactly.
It looks like a tough track.
It was epic. So the lap, I really tried to live just right on the edge of the grip level. And I didn't break traction once through the lap. I have watched the lap over and over again. It just goes on and on and on.
Did you feel on that lap you were just getting away with it almost every single step of the way?
I didn't feel like I was getting away with it. I just felt like I timed it just right. I hit the braking point just the right point, coming off the brakes just at the right time. I was just living comfortably on the margin that on the limit for that lap. I don't know why.
So when you came around that final corner, crossed the line, and your lap time came up, and you wouldn't have realised how you stunned the whole paddock, the whole world watching. We didn't expect that kind of lap time.
No. Well, I didn't honestly know what to expect. And then my Bono came on the radio and he's like, yeah, that was quite a good lap.
That's a pretty epic lap, Lewis. Pretty epic lap.
We were saying it would have been so cool just for you on that, when you came in off that first run, just to undo the belts, just stand out. I can't do no more. That's me done. Yeah,
it would have been good.
His lap last night in qualifying and his 61 laps tonight have been heaven sent for Lewis Hamilton, who extends his lead in the Drivers' Championship and wins the Singapore Grand Prix.
Have these wins when people were not expecting it. it's been a really great roller coaster ride for us.
You're the second oldest driver on the grid now, when it'll be next year, yeah. How do you compare now to where you saw yourself in 2007, say, when it all started in F1?
Well, I think I've always had the ability, so that obviously that doesn't change, except you obviously hone in on your skills and you work on your weaknesses and such. You know, for me, my relationship with my team has become more and more and more important to me as I've got older. How I interact and how I communicate with those individuals has become more and more and more important. And that alone gives you tenths of a second. If you can get that right. I've always been able to drive the way I can drive now, but I reckon I would kick my butt at 2007 me as to now. I don't think he would have a chance. Ian, he was bloody quick at 2007.
You've launched a range of Tommy Hilfiger clothing. That's kept you busy and happy as well, I guess.
Oh, it's been so busy. I remember being here actually in Malaysia and we're driving down the highway to the city, and I remember seeing a huge billboard of Gigi with Tommy Hilfiger, and I was like, and I started seeing it everywhere, and I was like, damn, that's the best campaign there is. And then just, it's crazy. That's what I want to do. I'd love to design something one day, and that's what he said he wanted to do with me. All the models, it was very, very diverse, which was what I asked for. I really, really think that it was colourful and powerful today. The reason I'm even able to do the fashion thing is because of Formula 1. Formula 1 has created the platform to do all these other things.
How are you going to approach this then, the next 6 races, leading the championship like you are by 40 points?
Yeah, I just take it really one race at a time.
So you're still going to go for those victories?
Yeah. Because I think, honestly, the victories that I've had, I've not, and if I really look at from kind of China or shortly after China onwards, I've found a really nice balance. And I don't feel like I'm risking anything when I'm on the race weekend. It's not like I'm going too far to cause me trouble. I'm just knocking at that 100% door, you know, and I don't think we should change anything because it's working really well at the moment. The way we work with my mechanics, my engineers, that formula's working, so there's just no need to adapt it right now.
We see the young drivers coming through, you know, the Max Verstappens of the world. They have the speed, it's clear to see. Just like you did when you first burst onto the scene in Formula 1.
Absolutely. I mean, I look at Max, and he's a great driver, but I see myself there. I know what it's like when you're young. So when people say, yeah, he's making mistakes, I'm like, who didn't make mistakes at 18 years old, 20 years old?
And he's there younger than, say, we were when we arrived as well.
So I really sympathise with the experience that he's having and the things people say. And, you know, he's on his own journey. He'll make whatever mistakes he makes and take leaps and bounds, whatever he decides to, you know.
You know, it does become a mental game when you're fighting against people with similar and equal levels of talent or at least speed.
It is a huge mental game.
How do you keep yourself at that level time and time again this season?
I've always had that belief in myself, but it's really about, I would say I'm more confident in my abilities and as a man than I have ever been. In terms of how, when I wake up and I leave the house, my confidence level is a million times greater than it was when I was in 2007 or when I was younger. You know, in those times, there was insecurities, there was unhappiness, there was pressures that I didn't quite understand. I was being pulled from this length, from this side, from family, you know, and I couldn't find a balance. You know, I'm my own man now. If
you can win this championship this year, do you think it will be your finest?
I do think so. I mean, I think it's been my finest year so far, in all honesty. I finished last year and I was really happy with the performance. But you look at every year, I didn't win every race. Wasn't perfect. And so every year you're trying to, how do I take it to another level? How do I drive just as good as I did the previous year, but raise the bar again? And there will always be ways for me to raise the bar again the next year. That's the great thing of life. But I do feel this has been one of the most complete years up until this point, even if it didn't start off perfect. And with this battle that we've had, this serious challenge with another 4-time world champion, yeah, if it goes the way I'm working on it and planning for it to go, then I think it would be, it definitely would be the most satisfying one.
it was really nice to get Lewis Hamilton in a relaxed frame of mind, away from the racetrack, away from the hubbub of people trying to get a piece of him all the time. And you could really see that he was more chilled than he is at the track. And I think drivers are sometimes unfairly judged and rated on their kind of personality, their persona, when they're at work, basically doing their job. So him being away from the track, it's really nice for him to open up and talk about that impressive qualifying lap that he drove, which I still personally believe is one of his best, maybe the best lap he's ever pulled out the bag. And the race weekend in general, it's a strong weekend for him and the team there. But yeah, so the backstory to that was that we couldn't actually go to the main location to film it. We were supposed to go to, and that was the reason he was there, to work for Petronas, to go to their research facility, this new impressive place they've built there, but we couldn't go there because the weather came in, so it stopped us getting to it. We had to fly there. So the storms were too bad, like it often is that part of the world. So all of the plans that we had in place were kind of for nothing. So thinking on our feet, we had to find a new location where to film it. So we ended up driving just to the edge of the rainforest rather than going deep into the heart of it where this research place is. So yeah, it was a bit of a shame. I was looking forward to, well, in some ways, I'll get to that in a minute. I was looking forward to going on the helicopter ride to the middle of the rainforest, like I say, but obviously it comes with other challenges. And for those of you who don't know, I'm pretty apprehensive, I'd say, about mosquitoes and catching nasty diseases from them. So I'd never been to Borneo before, and the camera crew and the guys around me, the producers, were laughing at me basically the whole week we were there because I was super scared of getting bitten. So there we go. The other confession I have to make is that I fluffed the intro. Do you know when I stand there saying, "Welcome to Borneo," and I'm in this lovely location? That took about 30 attempts. Poor old Pete, the cameraman, was there with his camera, with his arms trembling, trying to get the perfect shot. And yeah, I kept making mistakes again and again and again. So apologies, Pete. It still scarred me to this day. Please forgive me. That's all I can say. Right, so on to the next clip. The Daniel Ricciardo and Max Verstappen at the SkyPad in Singapore from last year. It was really funny to get those two guys together. It's one of the best features I've ever done on the SkyPad, and yeah, it was one of those moments where you're not quite sure how it's going to go, but as it unfolded, it was brilliant. So if you haven't seen it, you're in for a real treat. Sit back and enjoy that one.
From today in FP2, unfortunately,
it's
it can't
emotional.
be. Yeah, you can
like
be as
times. Yeah.
You can be as critical of each other's laps.
We've never done that together.
This?
Yeah.
No, there's a few things we're still yet to do together.
Okay, we cannot.
Well, it's a first then for you guys. Right,
yeah,
good.
It's a
That's
good start.
Good. Yeah.
Clean.
Right,
clean, yeah.
Here we go then. Down the main straight to turn 1.
9th gear.
Right, so you can criticise each other's laps as much. Feel free.
Ooh,
Now, the first thing I noticed.
The apex.
Well, what's going on here? Look, you're using a lot more of the green stuff. You know, Daniel, you've been a bit more reserved.
He's
here.
going green.
He's just
for the
gentle.
environment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm running green.
Okay, so by the time you get into turn 3, it looks like Daniel's just slightly ahead, but it's hard to choose, obviously. We don't know what fuel you guys are running.
That was maybe not the best corner.
I like this corner. This one's good.
This is
just
a bit bumpy on the exit.
Ooh, we were both close to the wall.
Nice.
Why do you sound so surprised with what you've done in the car?
Because sometimes actually when you watch your onboard, you realize like, oh, I was actually quite close.
Yeah. In the car, you don't always see as well, and you're like in a bit of a zone.
They've changed that curb for this year, yeah, on the exit.
Like all the naughty curb.
Yeah, the naughty
You don't want to be there.
No?
You don't want to roll down that end of the wicket.
Okay.
And you also don't want to try it out.
You don't want to take. No one tested today, have they?
No, you don't want to go there.
Turn 8.
Can you squeeze some cars there on Sunday though? It might help me out a little bit.
I don't need to. Yeah. Okay, like that. All right. Yeah.
Get rid of some.
You're a bit ahead now.
Yeah, he's a little bit ahead now. Here, Max, we saw your teammate lock up. Go straight on into turn 10. You're placing the car more to the left-hand side than Daniel.
Yeah, well, that just depends on the lap, to be honest. Sometimes I'm like, oh, I'm actually more to the left. Yeah.
Is it like that?
Well, actually, you know what? There's not many straights, so like it's a chance to have a little rest, so you might drift over a little. I'm picking up what he's putting
I
down.
thought this was supposed to be precision stuff. You know,
In the
you're
long
drifting
run,
around.
in the long run, I was sometimes a bit more to the left than to the right. Yeah.
To the left, to the
You're
left.
talking about the line, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Turn 10. Does it feel quick in the car? Is it better than the old corner?
It's better than the old one, but it doesn't feel that quick.
I've never tried the chicane, you know, the proper
the Singapore sling
it was
chicane.
horrible?
It was terrible.
Yeah.
This is a lot better. Yeah, that was ugly.
Yeah.
Oof.
No, I think this is the best
Yeah.
so far.
Best solution that they have
So
for what
far, yeah.
the circuit they have. Here, Daniel's putting more of the car over that curb there than you are, Max. Is that intentional for that part?
Well, at that time it was flat already, so I don't know.
Even on the race runs?
Yeah.
It's just easy
Oh, wow.
flat through there, yeah?
I'm just going to make some notes.
Note
Yeah.
it.
We'll remember.
Note it. Flat
Okay.
onto the bridge.
First gear for you, Daniel in the hairpin, your second.
Ooh,
Max is
first.
Yeah,
First
what are you
gear.
doing in first gear?
I was dabbling, you know, sometimes first, sometimes second.
Yeah.
I was
Help
even
rotate
trying
the car?
turrets sometimes. No, just
Really?
kidding. No,
Well,
just
but
kidding.
I saw Lewis running third.
They do.
Mercedes are third.
They do, yeah.
They're able to run normally a lot lower gears. I
Okay.
think their pickup on throttle is better at low RPM than
Yeah.
maybe what we got.
But you're clearly in first gear.
Yeah.
Onto the new DRS zone for this year. You think it's going to give you guys any chances
Were
into
you in
this one?
DRS there?
No. Come on.
No, not on this
Come
lap.
on.
Your lights are going on.
No, they come on to let me know it's available. So if I click
right.
it, they go
Okay,
back
you
off.
got it like that. Did you have it like that at Red Bull?
No, I changed everything.
Okay, you
Just
just
I
wanted
needed to move on.
Yeah.
Didn't like
Well,
the way you set it up, basically.
Right.
Yeah, he's now he's free
Yeah, I
to
didn't
do what he
even.
wants.
I think I got yellow lights or something.
Right, where are we?
I don't know where we are.
Yeah, oh, hang on.
Max's
Yeah, look.
line was better there.
Aggressive.
Yeah.
You say better? Why? So you're not
Yeah.
using the curb. Well, you're on the red and white.
Yeah, but then I kind of wash off it with some understeer.
It's all about
Okay.
how close you can get to the wall, isn't it?
Oh yeah, Max is you've hooked the car over a bit
And then
more.
he's got a straighter exit.
right.
Yeah, he's
Just
opened up the
exit
exit
of
well.
17.
Not
Yeah,
using
okay.
the exit that much, though.
Yeah.
This is where we saw Bottas go off in 19. Was it tricky today?
No, he's just a rookie.
Okay.
You
No
said,
comment.
yeah. Not getting that close to the
it was
wall
kinda-
in race kind of trim. You're not pushing the
bothered.
limits that much on the
Did you
exit.
kiss it today? You have to kiss it once.
I haven't. No, I haven't.
Oh, I did.
You did?
Later in this run, I did. Felt good.
You
Knocked the steering a
surprisingly-
bit out, though.
Did you knock the steering out?
Yeah, it went a bit right hand down after.
Oh, that's
You
not
win some, you
brilliant.
lose some, you know.
Oh, but that's fine.
Well,
Maybe
you-
I'll try tomorrow.
You got there ahead, look. Just as you go back to the line, as Daniel is actually
I
fast on
guess
this
that
lap.
was,
It's
that
always
was your
hard
first
to.
lap. That first lap, you did a 45.6.
45.7, I think.
Yeah, and I did a 46.0. I remember they told me.
Did you get quicker or not?
I did the 45.6 after.
Enchanté.
They told you to do that time, or they
Well,
told you
because
what time
I think
you were
at
done?
the time we were the only ones running. Like,
So like Ricardo's fast. He's just done a
that,
45.
push a
well,
bit
they're still
harder,
calling you
yeah.
Daniel.
Really?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, that's
So
that's
just
very
Daniel.
pleasant.
Yep.
So you've both driven here, teammates before. You must be aware of each other's strengths and weaknesses around it, or strengths around the circuit.
Yeah.
So can you see that coming through when you watch?
I didn't
the laps for each
didn't
other?
watch enough. I remember Max was good. Turn 8. I think Max was always pretty strong. Good entry speed into 8.
Turn 5. Daniel
I
was
like
good.
turn 5.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
He
Yeah.
even surprised himself how close he got to the wall on the exit.
On the exit, yeah,
That's
he's
how
like,
good
oh
he
my
is.
God. He was
Anyway,
actually always pretty good in turn 5. Yeah.
All right,
Sure.
you
The
give
rest
me
of the
5, I'll give you 8. Yeah.
The rest of the corners, I think we're pretty even.
well, boys, thanks so much. It's been really insightful. I'm sure the fans were loving that too. And
Also,
yeah.
the glitter on his helmet, I think, was really good.
It's at least,
Beautiful, huh?
Yeah, it's
at least 2/10, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, we see some glitter from
fast
you
glitter.
next year.
just for beauty.
Yeah.
You didn't get a Singapore helmet?
I do, yeah. They are. Yeah, I don't know. Probably my camera is just bad.
It's like white and red?
It's just more glitter. Like there are more glitters in my red and in the white.
Do you think he's
Awesome.
trying hard enough with it when it comes to the helmet
Well, we have
glitter?
the same helmet painter, so I think same philosophy.
Probably use the same glitters as well.
Yeah.
Well, interesting. Let's see what if you can up the glitter stakes next year.
Just a fully glittery helmet.
Yeah.
Maybe
Do you
the
miss
full
me?
car. Like even. Do you miss me? I got
Ask
that.
first.
I do miss it sometimes. Yeah.
Yeah. Should we
Just
share bunk beds?
when you get into like a qualifying session, and then trying to get the best out of each other.
seeing my face from across the room.
Also, yeah, we have shared a few rooms together.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, we won't go into that here. But
Nope.
Thanks so much for joining us. It's been very insightful. And yeah, best of luck for the rest of the weekend.
Awesome. It was a pleasure to meet you.
Yeah, thank you very much. Your name
Meeting
is?
you.
John. Daniel John.
Daniel John. Your name is Alan?
Alan, yeah, Steve.
Bye.
Honestly, walking away off screen was the only way I was going to shut those two up. So I didn't know any other way. I kept trying to end it naturally, but they just weren't having any of it. So it still makes me laugh to this day. The two of them, they were on great form. Clear to see that they really get on, both on and off the track. And yeah, clear that they were teammates in the past and they knew all the details about each other's driving style. But they basically just ended up having too much fun. And yeah, walking away was the only thing I could do to end it. But the way we got there, the way the idea was born was from a normal SkyPad interview I was doing with Lando Norris in Paul Ricard, where George Russell, because we were filming it just out the side of the Williams motorhome, George Russell cheekily put his head round the corner and just started ribbing Lando about his lap. And the two of them had this good banter going on, but we couldn't hear a word that George was saying because he didn't have a microphone. We hadn't structured it that way. It just sort of naturally developed. So we thought if we could kind of recreate that, but have a proper structure in place. So give the two guys a microphone, make them stand in the right place so they're not crowding around the screen too much and talking over each other too much, then this could be something good. And it took a bit of time to make it right, a couple of attempts, but yeah, we got there. By the time we got to Singapore, we had the format in place, and I'm really pleased with how it turned out. So looking to the next clip, it's the circuit guide filmed from last year in Monaco with Martin and myself. You know, I felt like I've done many circuit guides in the past, mainly by myself, or you bump into the odd current driver that can talk about their recent experiences in a modern day F1 car. But for Monaco, I thought it's got such heritage and it's one of those real special circuits. It's been there right from the beginning of the F1 World Championship. So I thought it needed something special. I really wanted to do the circuit guide with Martin. You know, the chemistry was good, and something I pushed for with the producers to make it happen. And I'm really pleased with how it turned out. So yeah, enjoy the circuit guide from Monaco last year.
Magnificent Monaco, 2.1 miles, 3.3 kilometres of tarmac, basically wrapped around the harbour here.
Come Sunday, there'll be lots of people spending huge money to stand where we're standing.
It just reminds you how compact it is here and the fact that it is a roadway even during the event.
Yeah, you only ever get to see this circuit clear when you're in the race car because there's traffic there all the time in between sessions. Let's get down to turn 1 and have a look up close.
Down at Sanderbot, get the speed down. The sweet spot is to hit this apex, carrying good speed, under control, otherwise you go straight to the scene of the accident.
Very easy to lock a brake into here. We see it so many times, and you've got to think fast in the car at that point. You've got the runoff zone behind us. You can live to fight another day by doing that, by going into there. Or do you carry on wrestling the car, and those barriers come up at you very quickly?
Iconic Casino Square from the balcony of the Hotel de Paris. Can you believe we thread Formula One cars through here at an average speed of 105 miles an hour, 170 kilometres per hour?
I just don't think you'd be able to build a circuit like this today, Martin. That really is what makes Monaco special.
You can carry good speed through the apex of Casino Square, but then as you head down the hill towards Mirabeau, you have to breathe and move out to the right-hand side.
Yeah, dodge that bump just on the exit, but also getting super close to the barrier on the outside. And you really know when you've got this track nailed, when you feel good and comfortable through this section of the circuit. The Fairmont hairpin, the tightest corner on the calendar in Formula One. This corner dictates your gear ratios and your steering ratio for the entire season.
I love to see the cars snaking down the hill, and then it's quite a downhill braking zone, isn't it, to get into here. And of course, then immediately you're looking for the pavement of Mirabeau, to go on your way towards the seafront.
Exactly, you have to compromise a bit of the exit of this one, swing the car back over to the left-hand side to open up turn 7, taking a bit of curb for good measure as well. It's hard to appreciate from the TV cameras, even the onboard shots, of how steep this part is. The apex itself, quite slow speed at turn 8. There's no room for error on the exit. We've seen even guys like Senna get that wrong. What was going through his mind that day, Martin?
Back in 1988, I think he was leading comfortably, and just momentarily he lost concentration, as you can easily do around here, and you're in a bit of a zone, and all of a sudden, boom, goes quiet and you're out of the race. You can't quite believe it. Brand new tarmac here on the exit of Portier, which is going to give you tremendous traction as the weekend unfolds and the track rubbers in. And of course, then you burst into the sunlight, into the harbour.
It's your biggest chance in this track for an overtake, but the braking zone is very tricky. It's nice and smooth and flat here, like you pointed out, but down into that chicane is quite bumpy. There's a camber on the track as well, and if you touch the curb on the right-hand side, we've seen cars go into the barrier in the past.
To back corner then, pretty quick now, isn't it?
It's a fast one these days, yeah, taken in 4th gear, flat out through that section underneath us now. It's the best place to stand. If you can get on the exit of that barrier and watch them fly through, you cannot believe the speed they're carrying. But then obviously you have to slow it all back down for the exit of the swimming pool section.
And of course the exit of the swimming pool has now become the most perilous place on the racetrack.
Absolutely. They've opened this corner up over the last couple of years, and it's now super fast, and the drivers have to be very precise in getting as close to this barrier as they can to help open up the next corner and carry that momentum.
This scruffy piece of barrier cost Max Verstappen a potential victory last year, didn't it? When he just touched it and broke the suspension, as we've seen before. Survived the swimming pool, then you've got the hairpin of Rascasse, the final unsighted Anthony Noakes corner, and you're into the pit straight.
Exactly, yeah. So it's pretty straightforward around the last 2 corners on the track. A little bit of loss of traction coming out of Anthony Noakes, and then onto the only DRS zone on the track.
Get it all right, and at the end of the race, you join royalty up there on the podium.
So I guess the main challenge for that one was finding a safe enough location for all of us to stand, and the film crew in particular, because they're set back from where Martin and myself are. With the stream of traffic coming past in the background, you know, they don't care that you're there filming for a F1 circuit guide for the Monaco Grand Prix. For them, it's just a normal working day. And that's the challenge you have in Monaco. You know, I wanted to show the circuit in the detail that we needed to show. So like the curbs and the barriers and the change of surface and stuff throughout the lap. But staying safe, and we're under such strict time restriction as well. We're jumping in a minibus in between each take and whizzing up to the next corner, jumping out and filming that one, and not trying to mess our lines up to, you know, it's going to waste time. So we're also able to find some pretty decent vantage points around the track, like the Hotel de Paris looking over the Casino Square, for example. You know, that was brilliant. I'd never been in there before, and gives you a little flavour of what the lucky few out there get to see over the course of the weekend in Monaco. Also having Martin there to call on his experience, and it's always nice to bounce ideas off each other as 2 drivers can, and yeah, to bring up old stories from the past that, you know, when he was there and was in the race himself, and that was really nice. And it's a circuit that allows you to do that as drivers because it's been there from the beginning. And it's fairly unchanged from back in those days. You can all talk about the same corners, but from your own experiences of the car that you remembered driving around there. So yeah, that was really nice, and I'm glad we were able to pull that one off. So moving on to the next feature, it's the sim feature filmed at Mercedes in Brackley. So it's a job I've done for quite some time. I used to be a test driver back in the day, of course, when general testing was more of a thing, and it's a skill that I can use today in the simulator. And I really want to show why the Formula 1 teams have sims and why they rely on them so much now in this day and age of Formula 1. With limited on-track testing, simulators have definitely become more of a valuable asset to the teams, but it's never been really shown in the detail that I wanted to show. And we've talked about this for a long time at Sky, it's actually for many years been a talking point, and the reason it took so long to get there is because the teams are pretty much running them every day of the week. So Mercedes were quite accommodating and allowing us in, opening the doors up to film the sim and robbing them pretty much of a whole day's work, just so we could bring that feature to you. So it was before the Italian Grand Prix in Monza, so a few weeks before that, or maybe it was even months before that, we set it all up. We ran Monza as the circuit for that day, and yeah, like I say, it was a great way to show why the teams have the sim. So yeah, let's take a look back at that one.
Last year, we had an in-depth look into what goes on behind the scenes of the race support team over the course of the Melbourne Grand Prix, and we ended it here at the Driver in Loop simulator. Well, today we have unrestricted access to that simulator and what goes on in the inner workings with me behind the wheel. So we're in the simulator control room. We've got Ivo, Richard and Illa. It's a small team of people needed for pre-event Monza works, what we're going to be working on today. So what have you got in store?
So well, let's start with a video for you.
Yeah.
We've got last year's quali lap.
I'm gathering information on how Lewis is going to be driving this lap. So when I get into the sim, I can try and replicate what he's doing with the wheel, where he's braking, the gears he's using in the corners. I'm using my analytical brain that I do on the SkyPad at this point to really understand where he's placing the car.
During the day, we'll pull up some different options in the sim, get some correlation going to make sure we've got the cornering speeds matched, the car balance, and then we'll try some different things during the day.
Yeah, it's time to get ready, helmet on, and give it a go.
One massive struggle for short little Ant to get in over the halo. What was the lap time we were aiming for?
1:20.
20, okay. So I'm looking for a 20 lap time. I've done a 23.8 on my first lap. Trying to match Lewis Hamilton. It's quite a difficult thing. That was a much better run through the second chicane. It's pretty much the best I've got, I reckon.
Okay, Ant, have you got any initial comments for us?
Yeah, so we're missing just a bit of grip in the slow speed. On the front, just it's washing out mid-corner, especially turn 1, turn 2. More than what I was looking at on the video.
Yeah, okay, copy.
So now the interesting part really starts with, we've matched the car as best we can to the real world. I'm feeling happy in the car, and now I'm going to have a whole series of blind tests thrown at me to see if we can make the car go any quicker. So I'm constantly analysing the car at this stage, thinking about the braking, how the car responds on the turning and change of direction and the traction. I reckon I've got slightly more rear downforce. It's pushing the front on in the mid-corner of medium and higher speed. And I can also see on my delta, I'm just losing time on the straights. I've got more understeer mid-corner, I can't hang on to the front end. The rear's just too stable.
So, and this is option 2.
Okay.
We'll compare this again once you've finished to the baseline. It's not something we've told Ant, but the first option, we were looking at a different downforce and drag level. He's very perceptive, so he can pick that out straight away from driving it.
He's probably one of the best there is. He has a way of meticulously logging everything in his brain. I mean, he'll not drive the car for 5-6 weeks. He'll then get back in and we'll give him an option. Obviously, we don't tell him the option. He'll go, oh, this reminds me of the third option we did the Thursday, second week in April. So the way that a race driver can log so many of these very small details, but for so long, and he'll go, oh, I know exactly what this one is because we did it a year ago. So yeah, he's very, very good at what he does.
Yeah, let's jump out and we'll do a debrief. If we talk about option 1.
Fairly subtle. I felt a bit more rear support and braking. I could see it was losing a bit of time on the delta down the straights. But by the time you arrived in turn 6 and 7, it was pushing on the car on the front end even more than what the baseline was. So an area where I felt like it was quite weak already, it was just creating even more understeer and stopping me from getting on the power.
You can see it quite clearly in the data. If we compare red being option 1, blue being baseline. You can gain in the corners, but you're losing it instantly on the straights.
The option 2, yeah, I found it was better than the baseline. Similar levels of grip through the corners and braking zones. But by the time you arrived in the medium speed, you definitely had a bit more front end and could get into the corner better, and the front would stick mid-corner, allowing you to open up the throttle earlier. The rear wouldn't snap, and you still had the same grip as before on the rear, but you just had more front, and you just roll the speed through 6 and 7 and 11. They were the 3 main places that I was gaining lap time.
Thank you very much. It was a good session. Gave me some good direction.
I can come again then?
Yeah.
So there we go, wraps up a day here in Brackley on the simulator. I hope you found it entertaining, and yes, a view into my world and what goes on here at the factory. Remember, this is correlating the car to last year, pre-event work for Monza, and when the car runs on the track in real life, they'll get more data from that, and they'll start that same process all over again. So let's see how that translates in real life when the car hits the circuit.
It was really nice to show the sim at Mercedes and to show you guys what it can do and why the teams have them, what the drivers kind of gain from it and what their input is, and also what the teams, well, mainly what the teams gain from them and how they run them on a true working day. So yeah, that was pretty cool to be able to show you that. Probably the one thing I missed though in that, there was so much to cover in the couple of hours that we had. Probably one of the things I missed mainly was that to explain how you can control all of the outside elements, say like the sun coming out and heating up the track too much by a few degrees, and the wind picking up in the afternoon, say, which can skew your results in real life. That's obviously something that the sim can control. So you can really focus in on the thing that you're prioritizing, the element that you've changed. So you can keep your baseline, say reference A, all the way through the day exactly the same, rather than it drifting around and migrating as the track conditions change in real life, say. So I've been there many a time before as a driver in real world track testing where you've had an ideal car set up in the morning and then it becomes an undrivable car by the time you get to the afternoon, or vice versa. So that's one serious thing that the sim can control, something that makes on-track testing incredibly hard. But yeah, that's the beauty of the sim. And quite often you find that you can home in on a change on the simulator faster than you can even in real life, and at least it stays consistent throughout the day. So that's something that I probably didn't pick up on there. But like I say, it's there were so many more elements going on, and with the time frame that we had, I'm pleased with how it turned out. And I hope you enjoyed it too. And yeah, that's it. That's all my 4 clips done, and I hope you've enjoyed them. And these are weird times, obviously, for everyone. And I wish that I could be at the racetrack with the SkyPad and analysing drivers' laps rather than my own work from the past. But it is what it is, and I think everyone's safety and health is the most important right now. So just want you to stay safe, keep enjoying these features that we're doing for you. I'm sure you've got many more to watch from all the other presenters at Sky Sports F1. Yeah, and like I say, take care. That's the main thing right now, and thanks for watching.